So hello and welcome to the Food for Thought series, where we'll be sitting down with current thought leaders in the data and analytics space to offer you a valuable insight into how they run their practices and their experiences. In today's mini interview, we'll be sitting down with Nedaa Agami, who is the Global Data Science Director at PepsiCo, where we'll be having a strategic discussion on how to use data science to achieve business excellence. So hello Nedaa, and welcome to the interview today. Let's set the scene for our audience. Now, I know that you have worked in both the academic and industry field. How did you get to where you are at PepsiCo, and what is it that you do?
Hi. Well, basically, I started my journey in the field almost 18 years ago as an academic person who is specialized in operations research and decision support, which is basically the wider umbrella of modeling, let's say. And upon advancing in my career, I came to a realization that there's a relatively huge gap between academia and industry. And therefore, in an attempt to kind of bridge this gap, I started my consulting career by joining the industry world as an analytics and modeling professional right after obtaining my master's degree. I continued to work in the industry in parallel while working in academia and pursuing my PhD degree. Over a course of 16 years, I've worked across various industries and domains, including telecom, finance and banking, education, pharmaceuticals, tourism, then most recently CPG, where I joined PepsiCo in my current role as the global global data science lead of supply chain and operations analytics, basically supporting the company on its digital transformation journey on that front.
Amazing, amazing. It sounds like you've done a lot, Nedaa, in your experience so far.
Yeah.
Amazing, amazing. So the topic that we're discussing today, so to go into our first question, so would you say there are common mistakes that businesses make at the beginning which can affect them in the long run?
Yeah, well, so basically, when we say data science and business excellence, or let's say try to couple both, the idea is how to leverage data science to lead an effective and sustainable business transformation, or basically, maybe in other words, how to harness analytics to create competitive edge for organizations. Yeah, the thing is, recently the adoption of data science and analytics became more tempting than ever. Because of, let's say, several factors. I would say maybe the confluence of data storage, algorithms, and computational power all together has actually set the stage for a wave of disruption. I would say even an aggressive one, yeah, where organizations strive to rapidly surf it. Corporate leaders want to rapidly adopt analytics and kind of enforce data-driven decision-making to accelerate business performance, yeah? And that, I would say, is usually the biggest mistake. It's more of even, let's say, a watch out, yeah? Business leaders need to be fully aware that even under the most supportive circumstances, the application and adoption of data science and advanced analytics is a long journey that can sometimes take years. It cannot be rushed, yeah? Organizations cannot just leap into immediate implementation of best practices as a knee-jerk kind of reaction, because primarily what worked for some organizations should not necessarily work for the rest. Yeah, rather they need to prepare well for such a transformation and make sure that at least the key success factors are there.
Makes sense, makes sense. So let's start at the beginning. So how do you determine the key success factors when going into this business transformation?
Corporate leaders usually start such a journey with huge investment in technology and data storage, or let's say data infrastructure. Yeah. Although that's fundamental, it's simply not enough, as both technology and data themselves do not generate value. Ideally, they need to be paired with people who make sense of data and give it meaning through the use of technology. The ability to transform a business entails orders of magnitude, faster paced and forward-looking decisions. This essentially requires shifting the focus from merely using data as a resource and analytics as a decision support tool to making them a centerpiece of the enterprise strategy. In other words, I would say a routine boardroom discussion topic.
Okay.
That's critical. Finally, and maybe most importantly, they have to ensure readiness from a cultural perspective within the organization. Business leads need to establish an understanding of how to best use data for creating an impact through the employment of analytics. In fact, having the right tool in the wrong environment is actually a recipe for failure. You don't want to drive your Ferrari in the narrow roads of the city, then wonder if the experience didn't match your expectations.
Makes sense. Okay, so and I suppose we understand that technologies such as analytics and AI have the potential to support businesses make better uses of their data. It would be interesting to find out how you establish an analytics-driven team.
Well, I think that's a twofold task. Yeah, one is from an organizational structure perspective, and the other is from a skill set perspective. On the structure side, it can usually be either centralized or diffused, depending on the level of maturity from an analytics perspective, or what I would refer to as the analytics and data literacy of the business leads. If the organization is just starting the journey, I believe it is best if they adopt the centralized model, where actually one central team can provide modeling and analytics as a service to all stakeholders across the different functions organization-wide. Yeah, and eventually, upon progressing in the journey, they should move towards a more diffused kind of a model, where every function can have a specialized analytics unit for its maybe specific line of business. Yeah. However, on the skill set side, or let's say capabilities perspective, I believe organizations should fundamentally strive to have the right analytics talent on board. That's key, yeah? Or what I would refer to as the purple people. They basically should possess a blend of skills from both the technical folks, who are usually referred to with the red color, such as modeling, coding, and analysis, as examples, and business folks, who are referred to with the blue color, like storytelling, critical thinking, and executive communication, just to name a few. Yeah, I know it's quite a tricky balance to achieve, but I would position it as an essential element for success in that respect.
No, that makes sense. Kind of like both skill sets come together. No, makes sense. And what challenges have you seen from this, I'd say, in your own personal experience?
Well, I think there are plenty of challenges in that context. However, I would say not all of them are equally critical. I believe the most critical ones are basically, first of all, the separation of data and business. Yeah. Ideally, they have to work together as integral components and not separate ones. That's one. The gap between insight and impact. That's another important challenge, in the sense that the generated insights have to be actionable in order to drive business decisions and hence value to the organization. Yeah. What else? Improper anchoring of analytics-driven culture at senior management levels. Yeah, okay. That's a key as well. And I would say one of the biggest challenges also would be finding and hiring the right analytics talent. Yeah, starting with identifying the right analytics pool and eventually be able to have the right people on board.
Makes sense. And if you could guide other senior leaders in this space on certain principles on how to get to this place, what would be the advice that you would give there, Nedaa?
Well, based on my experience across different diverse industries, I would actually think of some, let's say, core guiding principles in that respect. I would say, first and foremost, everybody needs to realize that analytics is not a tool, but a new language that has to be adopted organization-wide. Yeah.
Okay.
That's one key thing. Another thing is that data is not a monopoly. It actually has to be democratized and shared where possible. Of course, as long as the right governing rules are put in place. Yeah. Again, I would say purple people are crucial to have on board. I would also say that change management is a key, in the sense that the importance of analytics needs to be properly socialized. Yeah, sometimes managing change is more challenging and more important than change itself. Yeah.
Makes sense.
What else? Yeah, IT. IT is basically has to be regarded as an enabling partner and not a milestone in the process. Yeah, IT
Okay.
shouldn't be a showstopper or a roadblock at any stage to the progress of the overall, let's say, company towards digital transformation and adoption of data science and analytics. It's fundamentally an enabling partner. Yeah. And I would actually maybe add to this work business backwards and not data forward. Yeah, because when people say data driven, it becomes somehow confusing, and because actually data does not drive, data guides, and it actually guides depending on how well you use data to generate insights that can drive proper guidance. So I would say one important thing is actually work business backwards, not data forward. Yeah.
I like that saying, that data guides and data doesn't drive. I like that. It's a good saying. Okay, so for our audience today, what would you say the key takeaways would be, for other organizations that are thinking about becoming more analytics driven?
Well, to corporate leaders who are about to start their journey of transformation and really want their organization to get ahead of the curve, lead and potentially stay there. Yeah, because I mean, it's not about starting, it's about actually sustaining whatever you have achieved in the first place. I would say think big, but start small.
Okay.
And scale fast. Yeah, that's one thing. I would also say the best way to change a culture and have it stick is to do that in stages. Yeah. In that case, I would actually say crawl, walk, then run. Don't start by running at full speed. Again, reflecting back to, let's say, the common mistakes that we have identified at the very beginning. Yeah. Speed is not always good, is not always positive. And I would say in order to have a successful and sustainable transformation, you have to adopt a business-driven strategy. Yeah.
Okay.
Not a data-driven strategy. Data is there to support. It's a tool at the end of the day. Yeah. But I mean, whatever that would guide the analytics roadmap or the data science practices during this journey should be primarily driven by the business strategy, because at the end of the day, what any corporate leader or organization would want to achieve is ultimately the strategic objectives of the company.
Makes sense. And what would you say to those senior leaders that are, that maybe are finding it difficult to change that culture within their organization at the minute?
Well, I think again, I mean, it's a matter of determination and having the right setup. Yeah. People usually, like we mentioned before, just like put the investment and get started. I primarily believe that you need to have the right things in place for a right start. A right start would eventually enable a successful journey and a sustainable one. Otherwise, I think it's a recipe for failure.
Okay. Well, thank you for your insight today, Nedaa. It's been lovely to speak to you, and I think our audience will take a lot from this conversation. So thank you for taking part in the Food for Thought series.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me, and have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you.